Hello, everybody, and welcome to a racetrack. That's correct. We are at VIR, and we are getting ready to go with the second race of a triple-header weekend for the TC America category for TCR class, TC class, and TCA class machinery. They are out in the first of two pace and formation laps. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Calvin Fish, Ryan Marine down inside pit lane. He'll be giving us all the information from down there. Absolutely, one, glorious to be back at a racetrack. Two, at a grand dame of a racetrack at that. Virginia International Raceway is truly something very special. And three, even in somewhat tropical heat and humidity, Cal, nobody's complaining because we're racing.
We are, and we've got a 34-car field here separated over the three different classes with TCR, TC, and TCA, and some wonderful grids, some great storylines are shaping up. There's some really tight batches of car here towards the front of all three fields, so it should showcase in some really strong racing here this afternoon. And one of the best, old school racetrack, just over 3¼ miles. 18 turns or 17 turns, I think they call it, with a double apex here to finish off the lap through Hogpen. But just one of the best. Lots of elevation change, very technical. Need some straightaway speed. You need everything to be successful here. But just everyone chomping at the bit, as you can imagine, after a 4-month break.
So many corners that are incredibly challenging. Turn 10 among them, the roller coaster, the technical section. But in particular, this place is known for those legendary climbing S's, and just the speed and the loads that you run through there. It is spectacular stuff. It
is, particularly in one of these little TCR cars that are leading the field here today. They have a lot of downforce, a lot of grip, and they can just go wailing through there, just hard on the attack. For everyone else, you got to dance through there, you got to flow through there, but it's a beautiful ribbon of asphalt, as we call it, up through the S's there. It climbs, so as the speed increases, you get an elevation change, so the grip maintains the same level. You can just attack it hard, and then you got to slow things down big time for the Oak Tree turn. Critical corner, get that run on the back straightaway, or a lot of passing can be done into the brake zone for the roller coaster.
Take a look at our starting lineup. One thing that hasn't changed is Tyler Maxson up front, right where he finished at Circuit of the Americas. Victor Gonzalez, who had an incident, early contact in the first race, but was fast in the second one. Solid second place qualifying. Scott Smithson doing a beautiful job as well. CJ Moses, who has a lot of laps here, moving to TCR this year, having a good qualifying run. But here's one of the stories, the return of the Audi Sport DSG gearbox cars. A new BOP program is in place. Jim Jordan from TC Americas had been putting this together for 9 months.
Yeah, it's great to see the DSG's back, a little bit more competitive. They've got a different, power with that car compared to the sequential cars that it's around. But great to see Tristan Herbert back. He's the motorsports manager for Audi Customer Racing here in North America. Had a wonderful pro career going before he switched his attention to a more managerial role in our sport. So he's one of the best. So they've been working hard, doing a lot of testing here. It's a new 2-car entry for the new German performance team with Vinny Lima, who'll line up 10th here today as well, competing for that group.
Absolutely. In the TC category, Toby Grahovic on the pole for the classic BMW team in the 240 IR Cup machine. Johann Schwartz, last year's champion, lines up second this year, driving the 31 for Hard Motorsports. James Clay, Bimmer World, based just 2.5 hours away from here. This is their home track. And Clay Quick, Chandler Hull joining Bimmer World at this event, and will be with them for the rest of the season. And then Joe Federo, who had his first win at Circuit of the Americas, driving that Nissan. They got the braking issues on that car sorted out, and he is going to be somebody to keep an eye on here. And then it is the two minis, 1-2 in the TCA qualifying.
Yeah, they had a strong opening weekend at COTA. They picked up exactly where they left off there, with Pombo just pipping his teammate to the pole. But Kevin Bohm, with the Honda Civic, he felt this track would be better suited to the Honda Civic with these more medium speed corners, not so much low speed stuff with the gear ratios and stuff. He's just a sniff off. He's only just over a 10th off of the front row. All
right, here we go. 40 minutes of competition for round one. Lots on the line. Obviously wins, points, but also fast lap determines where you start in race 2 tomorrow. And leading them up, Tyler Maxson in the Hyundai Veloster, Victor Gonzalez in the Honda Civic, and we are green. And the classes behind, TC and TCA, they're supposed to exercise some serious social distancing here on these pace laps here, and it looks like it's good. And Maxson hangs on to the lead, but Gonzalez slips back into third. Was that DXDT Scott Smithson, it looks like, maybe jumping up. Here comes Gonzalez in that white and yellow machine.
Yeah, he's got to give it up. He's on the outside there on the run to turn 3, so he needs to tuck back in. Otherwise, he's going to give ground to the cars that are behind him. Roy Block had an excellent run down into the first corner there as he moves up a position. Tristan Herbert right around him.
Watching everybody work through this very tricky part of the track. Roy, keep in mind, running the lone Alfa Romeo Giulietta in the field. Now here comes the start in TCA, and that was a great job. They were supposed to maintain a large gap, and they did that beautifully just to stay clear. And it's the minis up front, but let's see if Boehm or Gronke can do something here in the early moments.
Well, the two teammates, you can rest assured, even though they drive social distancing, I'm sure they had a chat around lunch about how they wanted to handle this start. Basically try and create a roadblock there between the two minis. Kevin Boehm there in the third spot, but he's feeling pressure down to the inside.
Nice move by PJ if he can make it stick, Cal.
He does, and Kevin has to give it up. That's not the start that Kevin Boehm was looking for.
No, part of a, I think it's a 4-car effort here. A couple of different classes for CrowdStrike racing, as they call it. But that bit of jostling now has let the, as now Boehm has gone back around Gronke. That's allowed these two minis to get a little bit of a jump on things, create a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, Boehm did a nice job there to recover, just showed his experience and class there. Multi-time national champion at SCCA level, won here in fact. So he's had success on this racetrack and also busied his lockdown time with some sim racing to very good effect. With the GT rivals, and 2 podiums, 7 top 5s in 8 races. So he's very much up on the wheel and showed his class there as well.
Having a look there, now we jump up to the lead. Maxson stretching it out just a little bit, but Smithson doing a really, really nice job. In the number 17, work his way around Gonzalez, and Smithson driving for DXDT Racing. He's only done club racing coming into this year, but you wouldn't know it.
No, he's really stepped up here. This is a strong performance here. I know it's early going, but to give around Gonzalez and hold down that second spot, he's got a little bit of help in the camp here this weekend. Brian Sellers coming off a Rolex 24 GTD victory earlier this year is in the DXD camp, helping out their TCR runners. So he's had success here in the past, so certainly sharing a lot of his expertise and getting these drivers up to speed.
Working the field here, watching a guy, keep an eye on the 16 of Luke Rumberg in the Rumcastle Racing, Manchester Hydraulics, VW Golf GTI TCR car. That's a DSG car too. And they've got experience here at this track in these cars. First appearance in SRO American Championship competition. But they're going to be a factor. He's glued right now to the back of Christian Herbert. Somebody running wide in front of him.
Right there, you got to be so careful if you drop wheels on that left side. Oh, big impact with the tires.
That looks like one of the Techsport TCA machines, but not sure who.
So down in the brake zone for turn 1.
Yeah. That's the thing, you get off on the grass here. This is a motorsport resort. And so they don't have a lot of gravel catch areas or paved runoff, so you get into that beautiful manicured grass. You just go for these long slides, and you hope you do it in an area where it just continues to flow right out and you can drive off, but it doesn't always quite happen like that. Back to this nice little battle here, as you talked about, Rumberg, Herbert, and Papadopoulos.
Papadopoulos has quite a bit of TCR experience as we get that caution, and everyone brings it to a little bit of a breather. I think a lot of these drivers needed that just to regroup a little bit. Yeah. So obviously that car is down there, cannot get out of the tire barriers. That's kind of a high impact zone at the speed you run down this front straightaway here. So obviously you have to play it safe and get the wrecker out there and get him out of harm's way.
With 3 different classes running, just to keep you updated, Grahovic from pole is held on to the lead in the TC class. For his classic BMW team, Johann Schwartz for Hard Motorsports second, James Clay for Bimmer World third, Chandler Hull. So in a way, kind of how they qualified. Federo slipped back a little bit. He's the one guy, he qualified 5th and he slipped to the 6th spot, but it's Capizzi who has come from 7th to 5th. And I'll tell you what, it's been fun to watch Tom Capizzi this year in the Autotechnic Capizzi Home Developments machine. He's become a really good starter. He really is fast on the opening laps and picks up a couple of spots.
And it's interesting to see drivers' personalities and confidence levels. Some people are very racy. They want to, make the move early. Other drivers want to sort of settle in and feel the car and feel the track conditions before they're ready to go at 100%. So if you can do it early, here's another look here. Oh, just drops wheels on the entry. house brakes. He just dropped those left sides and wasn't getting it slowed down enough, and then just sped off the racetrack.
Yeah, it's a 28, Ben Bettenhausen, who ran the championship with Tech Sport last year. Didn't run at Circuit of the Americas, but came back for this one. And I think he thought that that car was going to swerve into him a little bit more, and it's kind of an abrupt move to try and get out of his way and drop those tire traps to the right. I wanted to mention that Roy Block, you take a look at that Alpha right there. He had, you look at it, you think of 6th place. What kind of, was that really a great race? Circuit of the Americas in race 2, he didn't get a start due to an issue for the first race, so he got no qualifying time. He started 34th and finished 6th overall in that race. So now that he's up front, I think we're going to see some stuff from one Roy Block.
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix up there at the front. You got young Maxon, who's coming off that TCA championship and continuing with the same group at Copeland there. So had a great double win weekend at Circuit of the Americas and picked up exactly where he left off. But different challenges. His teammate has changed. So Nico Rega is not here this weekend. You got Papadopoulos filling in for him. I'm not sure what the plans are for the remainder of the season, but obviously a changing teammate. And Smithson just having, we knew that he was getting some track time, and initially made the move to GT4 machinery and then decided that maybe this TCR car was a better fit for him. But DXDT running multiple cars here this weekend, big effort, and they'll have big smiling faces right now looking at his performance early.
He's coached by a guy named Bruno Carniero, who is a champion in Japanese Formula 4, has done Japanese Formula 3 racing. So he's just built a friendship, and he's been coaching me very frequently and apparently very well. He's been impressive.
Met Bruno a couple of years ago, really polite, nice young man, and really trying to make his racing work. It's not a difficult game at the moment globally to continue racing, but he'll try and do everything he can. And here's a great performance by Olivia Eskew, who her dad is running in the GT3 machinery this weekend. Spoke to Ryan Dial, who's part of that DXDT group during the week on the phone, and he just said she's been doing great in testing, so look out for her. She had a really strong performance yesterday. I think she had some ABS issues in qualifying, which was disappointing for her, so otherwise I think she could have been very much at the sharp end of this field.
She had one practice session. She was 2nd overall, and some serious speed. And she's an interesting story because she first got into competitive skiing, and for a number of years, she ran in what's called the Free Ride Junior World Championship Tour. And when I say free ride, you're talking skiing. You ski down the side of a mountain, and there's a start gate, there's a finish gate, and how you get to the bottom is up to you, but it's timed. And in 2016, she was 2nd in the Junior Free Ride World Championships. 2017 won it. She decided, you know what, I think I'm good enough at this, I'm going to go for it. Moved to the adult tour, had a fall, hurt her knee, and realized that probably wasn't going to be on at this stage. And meanwhile, her dad was starting to get real involved in racing. And when he would go and test, they had a 350Z that she would hop in on the test days and go out and get coached and run on. And this is only her 4th ever actual race event, but she's done a lot of testing, a lot of lapping, and everybody that we've talked to has said she really has the skill set. And we've seen it before where skiers make the transition to automobile racing and do it rather effectively, as we're watching Ben Bettenhausen here head back to pit lane with damage, as you might expect, at left front corners where he went in, and those tire barriers doing the job.
I went skiing once with Lee Diffie and some friends at Whistler, and I did that free ride. It wasn't intentional. It's lots of fun.
You didn't understand what that diamond meant, huh? That black diamond. Yeah, I mean, it's skiing is an amazing sport, just fun to watch, fun to do, and everything. But to do it at that level, there's a video of her World Championship run in 17. When she left the gate, I wasn't familiar with it. She left the gate, and I mean, it's literally, you're just going down the side of this mountain, and there's huge uncovered rock and everything, and you pick your lines through there. At one point, she did a jump, was laying and landed it, was laying absolutely back on the back tips of her skis, just stood back up, and kept going. Just amazing stuff. So it's great to have her in this championship, and I think she's going to be a great addition. And we've got lights out on the Acura NSX safety vehicle, so we're going back to racing here. Still Plenty of time left, about 29 minutes by the time we go green as Maxson rolls him out. Let's see if Gonzalez can do anything about getting back around Smithson here, and who else can make moves.
Let's remember, on these restarts, you can't pass before the start-finish line. So even if you time it, if the other driver's not up to speed, you got to wait and be patient to clear that timing line before you can start to make a move.
Now we're back to green. And it looks like Gonzalez in the SRO Motorsports entry looked to the inside, couldn't get it done. Big side-by-side move here as the 5 of Block trying to get right around the outside of the 04 of Moses. That would set him up for the inside. Couldn't quite make that work, Cal.
Yeah, Moses doing a great job here today. And look down at the inside. Is that Tristan Herbert?
It is.
Wow, he had a quiet first lap on this restart. He's had a chance to think about things. He's on the attack again.
Well, and Moses really got trapped because I think Rumberg went through on him as well when he got offline when he was surprised by Herbert. So he's lost a couple of spots, and Rumberg on the move as well in that Rumcast VW.
It's been several years since Tristan Herbert's been behind the wheel. I think it was back at a Trans Am event that he had a major accident in several years ago. So, you know, even all the testing that they've done in the meantime, you get that first green flag lap. I think he was a little bit conservative, but he said not anymore. He's on the attack. Good chance to have a little bit of a regroup there.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, my first experience with Tristan was when he was running ITB in what's called the Mars Series, which is a regional series. And he came down to Atlanta for the American Road Racing Champions, which was sort of called the regional national championship, and was absolutely a rocket ship. And I went, this guy's got some skills here. You bet. He was able to parlay it into a great career now, as you said, in the management side of things. But he had pretty good racecraft, and that's been fun to watch here. Here's that battle as the 04 of Moses. Herbert, yep, absolutely.
Right there. And
yeah. So Roy Block just lost those couple of spots after that really aggressive move in the start. Well, problem here for the 33. One of our TCA cars, and that's Matt Forbush, who had been issued qualifying, was just down a little farther down the order than you would have expected. A little issue early here, but is out continuing.
Just doing a nice job there, just plants the car right in the middle of the road. Just tries to get that long radius through the corner to get the exit speed. It seems like that Audi with the DSG is now the second lightest car in the field behind the Alpha. But, oh, look down to the inside. That was a late move. Moses doesn't give it to him. It's going to slow everyone down here. Oh, Rumberg, a bit of a run on this group.
Rumberg maybe Block even getting a bigger run. He had a little bit more room. He didn't have to check up. But he's right there. He's closed up noticeably on Rumberg here. But you get in this section of track, if you're not clear by there's really nothing you can do for a while without massive risk anyway.
Yeah, you're just in wait mode until things start to slow down a little bit. Right at the end there, turn 10. Critical left-handers you set up for the final 2 corners before the back straightaway. Right in this section right here. Moses, as you said, has got a lot of experience here instructing over the years. He knows the racetrack like the back of his hand. Tristan Herbert does too, however.
Well, Olivia Askew is just locked onto the back of the 51 of Alex Papadopoulos. That's the car that Nico Reger ran at Circuit of the Americas with great pace and a lot of success. And Papadopoulos has himself a weapon. He knows that. And but right now, Olivia Askew is she just turned a really quick lap and is all over the back of Papadopoulos as we go back up front here. Maxson, there's Smithson in the number 17 DXDT entry. Great graphics on that car. That blue and white looks great. Then Gonzalez, the 99 of Victor, the SRO Motorsports Tolson Tools entry.
And Smithson's just doing an excellent job, just hanging right there.
Yeah, he is.
Just 1.2 seconds back of young Tyler Maxson. So this is really a breakout performance for Smithson. Just super impressed by what he's able to do here this weekend. The team's been testing here. They got the mileage. They got the setup on the race car. Hondas are looking pretty racy against the Hyundai that continues to lead.
Here's a look at Victor in the in the break here. I keep calling it off season, but it wasn't. But in that 4-month break,
it felt like an off season.
It sure did. He developed a Facebook Live interview thing that he did every week at a set time, and got a huge amount of viewership in the Caribbean, Mexico, and Central and South America. He's from Puerto Rico, of course, and has a huge following down there. So he said, yeah, he said, I turned myself into an interviewer in the off-season just to have some fun. This is the battle that we figured was going to be just awesome this entire weekend, and it's certainly living up to it. Toby Grahovic under attack from Johann Schwartz, last year's champ. Toby a champ a few years ago in this category. And then James Clay and the in the Pork Optima Batteries Bimmer World car.
As you mentioned, oh, look at the speed that Clay takes there through turn 10. Just an amazing run. Couldn't go anywhere with it, but certainly the Bimmerworld team knows this racetrack well. It's their local track, as you said. They're based just a couple of hours or so away in Dublin. And so much success here over the years. He's trying to take his teammate with him, young Chandler Hull, who's learning the ropes in GT4 machinery. But up front, Toby Grahovic, I think he finished on the podium, what, 9 times last year or something? But
8 times, yeah.
The perennial bridesmaid, it seemed. And typically behind Johann Schwartz, he had a double runner-up finish at Circuit the American start this year. I'm sure he's been thinking about how does he turn things around just a little bit, just to get in the winner's circle and get that momentum back and maybe take him to a title again.
But I'll tell you, for Chandler Hull, what an opportunity. You were talking about that immense amount of speed that Clay carried through turn 10. Chandler sitting behind him, watching this guy. Talk about an opportunity to go to school and go, okay, that's what he's doing, and see if you can start to find that speed as well. And again, Schwartz gets a solid run, but Toby just has that car. He's such a fast, consistent driver. And Johan this year, we talked about it, switching to the hard motorsport team. And look at this, Johan real late down on the brakes, down into 1.
Oh, washes out a little bit. Toby has to give him a little bit of racing room, and look at that. James Clay takes advantage. He gets side by side with Grahovic as they come off of turn 2.
Now, though, Toby should have that line, but look at that. The experience here of Clay. He knew exactly what to do. And Toby, being savvy, said, yeah, I don't want to have contact here early. And just let him slide through. But, well, I'll tell you, Johan, big aggression, but this is racing after all.
Yeah, it was a bold move. I mean, he felt it through. It wasn't just a bullish move, but I think it needed Toby to just open up his hands a little bit as they were turning in towards the apex for turn 1. So a lot of respect shown there by both drivers, and allowed James Clay to go on the attack, get that runner-up position right now. But you know he's got sights on one thing, and that's to win here on home turf.
Well, let's not forget, Grahovic and Schwartz did have a couple of incidents of touch and contact last year. Nothing egregious, mind you, but it was there, so I think they're both being very mindful. What I wanted to ask you was the reason for Johan maybe to make such an aggressive move, get to the lead here, was to get in clean, cooler air and not be in the wash of hot cars.
Yeah, certainly, and I think also we could see that Clay had some pace behind him. I think we saw that demonstrated on the run up through the S's there, so he's like, I need to make this move and just try and get some lap time underneath me here and create a bit of a gap. He's done that immediately, so now it's up to James Clay to respond to our 2019 Touring Car Champion, Johann Schwartz, who's gone to the front.
You just saw in the TCA class there, it is Mark Pombo out front from the pole in the 61 Mini Cooper JCW STEM, Service Technician Education Program, or STEP, I should say, Service Technician Education Program. Many with his young teammate Tomas Mejia right behind him. Then Boehm and Gronke was the qualifying order. But right now in that class, it is Gonzalez is the guy in the move. I was looking at that. Tyler has worked his way up now. He started, Tyler Gonzalez did, in the number 57. That's the Hyundai Veloster Turbo from Copeland Motorsports, and has worked his way up now into the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, back to this TCR battle up front. And there is a look at Victor Gonzalez as he continues to just sit right there in that 3rd spot. And one thing we know about Victor is in trying conditions, the man, well, as I say it, he has this big moment. What a save.
Big save.
I was going to say, this man is a master of tire preservation and management. That didn't help him. Cooled him off maybe a little bit. But
yeah, that was a big moment. He just tried to take that speed through there. And just such small margins here at those high-speed sections of the racetrack. Washes out, loses a little bit of ground, probably got a little bit of dirt on his tires, so he couldn't get through Oak Tree super effectively. And he's got the fastest lap of the race, so he's got the hammer down. He's about half second quicker on fast lap today. Overall leader, Maxon, so that will give him pole position for tomorrow's race if he can maintain that fast lap of the day.
And this is a big thing here. Schwartz has gone around Vinny Lima, who's in a TCR car, and that car is going to be quick. And if Schwartz can hang on to this and not let, and you can see Lima with all that horsepower compared to the TCR car is going to go right back by him, but it's allowed Johan to build up a little bit of a margin here. And he surely would have loved to have not given that back up here by the time he got into the roller coaster. Oh, and Lima's off. Lima has gone off. Maybe looking in his mirrors trying to help, Kel. That happens so much.
It's a weird dynamic when you know that you've not quite got the pace that you hope for, and you've got another class that are right around you. It's strange. Okay, I'm going to pass you on the straightaway, but then you might have a bit more speed through the corner. And I think you got a little bit distracted there and made that little error. And but he's back on track. Hopefully, no grass in the radiator, and he can continue. But certainly battles throughout this field right now.
Absolutely. There's the 5 block and Papadopoulos, the orange Hyundai chasing that dark right there, Alpha. But I was just going to talk about Vinny Lima. He is a true rookie here. It's his first pro racing event, period. He's a longtime Audi Sport customer, racing customer. Bought the car that he's racing and owns it. But he's done a lot of Audi Club North America high-performance driving events. He's just an Audi freak, just loves the 4 rings, and decided to, did a lot of his HPDE stuff with New German and decided to say, let's go racing. And he's got some guys like Tristan Herbert that are working with him on that, and Tristan doing an awfully nice job having him back in the championship. Ran a little bit with then Pirelli World Challenge a few years ago, 4th right now, and off by a few seconds here from that battle up front, but still great stuff.
Well, Tristan made his splash in the World Challenge competition. I think it was 2009 at St. Pete, and won on debuts. Oh, big incident here. This may be through the snake, Greg, heading up towards the S's.
Yeah, that's Robson, unfortunately. And yeah, that's area Bruce Robson for Auto Technic Racing. See if we can see what happened here. Got that curb awful hard.
Just got a little bit behind and tried to stay with the gas. Just needed to give it up a little bit. Once you're wide through that first part of that sector there, you just need to control the speed and maintain the line, and just seemed like he just kept chasing the throttle and ultimately lost control.
So the question is, was he able to drive off? He was fortunate in that he got the tires and didn't get a little bit farther downstream and into the actual metal Armco. So he may have been able to limp it in. Meanwhile, this battle in TCA continues to be the minis running 1-2, Pombo over Mejia. And Tyler Gonzalez, though, is on the prowl here. And looking at it, he's got one of the fast laps. He's turned to 2:11.1 compared to Mejia's 2:11.6 and Pombo's 2:11.4. And that margin is not that big at this stage for those guys, so he's coming after him.
Yeah, JCW certainly coming out the box strong here. Swept the races between the 2 drivers at Circuit of the Americas. Have a 1-2 run going here right now, but still a long way to go.
Watching this interesting race line here. Here's one of the Signal entries. That's the number 18. And that's Caleb Bacon, who was mighty quick in this Hyundai Veloster Turbo at Circuit of the Americas. Had some really great speed, but they had a little technical issue, and it was, I think, with data, just reading data, and as a result, they had to forego and got moved to last for non-compliance. But he had a couple of really, really quick runs, including he would have started on pole in the 2nd race. That's how fast he was at Circuit of the Americas. It didn't quite work out that way, but certainly a lot of potential pace in that car.
Yeah, and you could see it there. He really stretched Kevin Bone there down the straightaways with a Hyundai. And great to see Hyundai, relatively new to racing, in road racing, and just really make an impression here over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Manufacturer's title in the TCR class 2 years ago. A lot of victories between Mark Wilkins and Michael Lewis with the Brian Herder Autosport team. Didn't quite clinch the championship. Ryan Eversley was just a bit too tough for them that year for the driver's title, but certainly Hyundai made their presence felt, and great to see them spreading their wings into some of the other touring car categories.
Well, and what I love, that's exactly right, is the commitment to the touring car divisions here, creating the turnkey Veloster N for TCA. That's just going to open this opportunities up here, and it's great as we go back to this battle in the TC category. Schwartz has himself a nice little bit of a margin, but this is Clay Grahovic, and then not too far back is Clay's teammate, the 94 of Chandler Hull. That's that fourth car on your screen right there. And for Chandler, oh, he comes in awfully hot. It almost looked like he got in too deep and, as you said, got into the ABS and numbed it up a little bit. And was able to get it woed down, but it looked for a minute like he might have just collected the back of Grahovic. Didn't. Nice save.
Yeah, good save there. And as you said, he's certainly going to be learning a lot running up here with the front pack. Looks to the inside. That was a little bit optimistic, I feel, but just needs to settle it down a little bit. Still 13 minutes on the board. He can still climb onto that podium position if he's careful here. Takes advantage of that little battle right in front of him between James Clay and Toby Grahovic, and Johann Schwartz has done a typical Johann move in terms of getting to the front and taking off.
Yes.
He established that gap very, very quickly. And new group, as you mentioned, with the Rooster Hall team essentially stopping, and it was a late sort of like congregation of all of the parts there to get the cars to the circuit the Americas, but probably this little break has helped them in terms of regrouping and really aligning everything that they need to get back to racing here for rounds 3, 4, and 5 a little bit stronger.
Yeah, and a guy that ran with that team who was Johann's teammate last year, Steve Strymer, didn't run at Circuit of the Americas with the team, but they decided to put a program together, and he is now running as well with Hard Motorsport. And the interesting thing is he had a problem early in this test weekend here, Strymer did, with his prime car, and it just wasn't going to be fixable. So they brought out, if you remember last year at Sonoma, when a guy named Sean Webster in the debut of Hard Motorsport was really fast but flipped it going up the hill. That car was rebuilt, and that's the car that Strymer is running right now. And they said it should be just fine, but of course each car has its idiosyncrasies, and that's the one he's going to be driving for the rest of the weekend. We get back to this battle here, and Olivia Askew has moved up into the 8th spot, and now she is trying to take a spot away from CJ Moses, who's dropped a couple of spots. His block has gone through on him, but it's that red car with the white at the front that streaks back to red, attacking on the AWS entry right there of CJ Moses.
Extra dimension to this battle. It's a teammate. You know what I mean? So you're used to competitive racing, whether it's jumping off the side of a mountain or whatever it may be, but right now she's running up against a guy they've been testing a lot together. They'll know each other well. Does that change your mentality and how you attack that position?
CJ had to make a very quick adjustment there and did it, and still got the car wound down as he was working through one of the TCA cars down the order just a little bit there. I don't know if that's going to give Olivia, if it brought her a little closer or not.
I think she may have lost a little bit more ground. She had to go around the outside there through turn 11, and then she was very conservative for the right reasons. You get a little bit of marbling to the outside of the road, and you can't get turned in for oak tree, so she slowed it down enough to make sure she didn't make that critical error, and now regrouped and back on the attack.
I think it was pretty smart that they decided to have Olivia make her debut here, because she told me she's tested at 2 tracks ever, Utah and VIR. And she said, I know this place, and this is nice. And she's going to get an opportunity here. She's got to run.
She's right there.
Yeah, CJ had to be very careful coming up on the back of this TCA car.
She's got a big run. This is fun. This is fun to see someone early in their racing career develop right in front of our eyes.
There's lots more traffic up front.
Looks to the inside. CJ looked like he was just kind of in no man's there a little bit. Yeah, and she just takes advantage of. I'm not sure if CJ got into the ABS because couldn't get it turned in, but either way, he was a little bit offline, and she didn't have to be asked twice. She's through.
Well, something to remember with these cars is somebody dropped the tire up there. The TCR cars, by design, they are all front-wheel drive cars. So the fronts are asked to do an incredible amount here, and if you tend to overdrive them a little bit, it really is going to hurt your performance if you overheat and damage those fronts.
Yeah, for sure. They're doing the majority of the work. They're just hanging around for the ride on the tail end. You can just see her lines through there. She's really placing the car on the right part of the racetrack. Good commitment there. How does she deal with this traffic? Got to set it up and be careful. You just got to be careful with this outside line here through this turn 11. Someone's in her ear just telling her what to do there. Making really smart decisions at this stage of the game.
It's coming up in the back of the 25, a PJ Gronke, 2017 Touring TCB champ. And after a really rough season last year, lots of issues, he rebounded with a third at Circuit of the Americas, qualified third in TCA here. This is Tech Sports' home track, so you would expect them to have the setup for the cars. And boy, I'll tell you, PJ was able to dial it up and put in a great qualifying run. Qualified fourth.
Last year was one to forget for PJ. Just everything that could go wrong did. But that's the racer's mentality. You just dust yourself off, you come back stronger, and it'd be fun to see him have an uninterrupted season in terms of mechanical issues for this year.
Well, he's truly one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. And even in the worst part of the season last year, when you'd see him, it was just a big smile and a hello. And yeah, he's a class act. He really is. So see what Olivia's able to do now. She's got a bit of a margin up to block, 5 seconds, and he's running pretty good laps too. Olivia running a little faster than Roy on that last lap though now that she's gone clear, so we'll see what she's able to put together as we look at CJ and that CrowdStrike AWS entry from DXDT Racing. And up front, Tyler Maxson. After Smithson able to stay close for a little bit here, finally Tyler was able to open it up a little bit to a little over 6 seconds, but it is Victor Gonzalez fast lap of the race right now. That would be the CrowdStrike fast lap at a 1:57.9, and that's critically important because that's where you start in race 2. And because we have a 3-race event here, your fast lap in race 2 will determine where you start for race 3, and race 3 will be the makeup race for the St. Pete race that when that weekend was canceled, and so they'll be making that up there. So for Victor, right now, he's got that fast lap. That's huge.
Yeah, and I think one dynamic of having all 3 classes run together like we have now for this year is the fact that traffic plays a big part. And we haven't seen the leaders dealing with that, but I would have to think, looking at their lap times respectively, that most of these gaps have been created by dealing with the lap traffic and picking your way through there, or just getting a little bit of luck. If you catch someone before the S's as opposed to right in the middle of it, that can be a 1.5 delta right there.
CJ, after losing a little bit, he's caught up, and I think part of it is now is Olivia. And this is one of those stories where that's Joey Esma, who's a very quick young driver making his debut this season in GT touring cars after coming from chump car racing and then a season of Formula Ford racing. He's fast, but there's the discrepancy in speed you're talking about between TCA and TCR, and you get trapped behind a car in one of those bits like the roller coaster, you're just going to lose time.
Yeah, and it's fun. It can be, kind of frustrating at times, but it can be very rewarding in how you work the traffic and deal with that. And certainly a new sort of set of skills that you need this year. But great to see CrowdStrike represented by CJ Moses here this weekend and doing a really solid job. The best of times last year and the couple of outings that we saw him at, but he's regrouped, and this TCR car seems to be the perfect fit for him.
Well, I think that was it, was just finding, the right package for him, and I think that they've locked into it here, and it's pretty good. And speaking of pretty good, I'm just watching in that TCA battle right now, Gonzalez, he has trimmed that margin down to less than a second to Mejia.
Time's running out now, so if he's got anything left, he needs to demonstrate it right now. Maybe the minis are just controlling things at the front, but who knows? Gonzalez is certainly having an excellent run here with that Hyundai Velocita Turbo.
A couple of updates. Strymer in the TC class, he pitted and they with a damaged splitter, and they ripped it off, sent him back out. He had an off in qualifying. They thought there might be a little left over from that. And Damon Scherzen, who runs in the TCA class, is a teammate to Esma and to PJ Gronke, stopped before the green because something was loose, been in and out a few times apparently. And apparently Papadopoulos, who was showing some pretty good pace early, Cal's gone behind the wall, gearbox problems.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, he was quick.
Traffic again playing a big factor here through the roller coaster, and certainly there for Escuse. He gets a big advantage over a teammate, CJ Moses, who gets stymied there by the lead mini.
That is indeed Pombo. And then you can see behind Pombo is Mejia, and then the next car in the queue, I believe, is Gonzalez.
I think that's the battle to focus on right now. Pombo looks pretty comfortable up front. There is that Hyundai.
Tyler was he was very, very quick in the opening round. Got a win in this the first round in this class. So after qualifying second, wasn't quite as solid in the second part of it. But as a result, started the season off with a really, really strong run. But that 7th in the second round dropped him out of the top 5 in points. So he's hungry.
He is. And here, there you can see, is using every inch of the racetrack a little bit more, trying to close in on his teammate, and that's gapped him a little bit there from Gonzalez. Certainly the Hyundai seems to have a little bit of straightaway advantage. Can he do anything with it? It's all about the whole lap here, just over 3 1/4 miles. You need the low speed grip. You need the straightaway speed. You need the braking ability as well. So it's all about the complete package. The Minis looking to get their 3rd consecutive victory of the 2020 season. Pombo,
Boy,
threading the needle there through the final 2 corners on that back straightaway.
Pombo is just fun to watch drive, isn't it? He's so as one with those Minis. He's been driving them for so long. Here's that battle for second in the touring car category. Again, Johann Schwartz has himself a margin of a little over 3 seconds, but Clay Grahovic and Hull still covered by, I haven't used it in 4 months, I'm going to throw it in, the proverbial blanket.
Yeah, this is a surprise. I mean, looking at the times coming in here, I thought it was going to be tighter, but Johann just, you know what he's like. He's pretty sharp on the engineering side, and I'm not sure if they made a tweak to that car before the off here this afternoon, but once he got to the front, he just took off, and it's a surprise to see anyone create this sort of gap over James Clay, who loves this racetrack, and he and the Bimmer World team have been testing. They've been working hard on their setups during this break. And I think that they felt they should be the car on the team to beat here this afternoon. But right now, Schwartz has the advantage.
Yeah, and we were talking to Johann and his wife Karen, and they were talking about Johann's crew chief is Matt Chambers, and they said this guy is just switched on. And he and Johann work well together, and it's a good balance in helping settle the racing nerves. And as usual, Instramart, Diamond Creek Water. New sponsor for this year is Scope Concepts out of Charlotte, North Carolina for Johann. So they continue to develop that part of the program, which is as important, isn't it?
That's what keeps it all ticking.
Got to have the budget, you betcha. And of course, Hard Motorsport, and it's not only the team, but it also is, in essence, a sponsor company that
Perfect there. He tucks it to the inside.
Yeah. It's not done.
Once you get a little bit wide through turn 1, it really costs you a lot of time. Just sees that you can't get back to power grove. Hovick looks to the inside.
And James Clay, there was the experience of James Clay on this track. He knows that move, and he just exited a little tighter to the inside. And absolutely nothing Toby could do. That was savvy.
He's a great racer.
He really is.
He stays busy running a very successful business and travels a lot globally up until recently, obviously, with the lockdown and the quarantines that have been in place with various countries that he's typically traveling to. But, you know, he does a great job with his teams, and he's got a lot of excitement with the entries that he has, both in TC and in the GT4 Sprint X competition a bit later.
Absolutely. Final lap here in this 3rd round of the championship for TC America for all 3 of its divisions. Good look there. Scott Smithson, who's just absolutely put on a superb race here. Quello, sponsor on that car, and you know, he does not have racing experience at the pro level, just done some club racing, and he's obviously got all the potential, and it's quickly becoming realized, and you can see the margin he's built up here. And Tristan Herbert, Gonzalez has had a problem, Cal.
Yes.
He's gone off the map, and this could mean a podium for Tristan Herbert in his return to racing.
Oh, he'll be excited by that. I know he's expecting great things on his return to racing, but a podium here is really would be a great job. You can see the gap there with Gonzalez's problems, but Smithson has done a great job. He's got the 2nd fastest lap of the day, so Gonzalez still holds down the fast time, which will give him, even though he's had technical issues, it looks like, will still give him pole for tomorrow.
Yeah, he's 16th overall right now.
Yeah, it'll be Smithson alongside him, though, because his fast lap is marginally quicker than Maxon's. Flat tire, we understand, for Victor Gonzalez.
Well, you wonder, he had that off at 10, remember, and coming back on, sometimes the back edge of the track edge or whatever could cut a tire a little bit. But meanwhile, Maxon, he's going for a Maxon kind of effect here, going for his 3rd straight win in 3 events. Little traffic in front of him. He's got a big lead. Eases that Copeland Motorsports Hyundai down and through the hog pen. And at VIR, 3rd in a row for Tyler Maxon and Copeland Motorsports, and a win at VIR for Hyundai. Absolutely brilliant run once again from pole, led every lap. Here comes Smithson, very impressed. Great to see this. And meanwhile, here is that scrap. And Johan has that margin that he's been able to build up here. It's just driven it beautifully here. Ooh, big wheel drop through 10 there.
Yeah, that'll get your attention.
And the guys behind you here. Here comes Clay. This is the battle. It's really stout here. Does Grahovic have anything? These are 2 awfully savvy race drivers.
They really are. For Toby Grahovic, you'd have to think he's going to be sitting behind the wheel there. So close yet again. He controlled the early part of the race, but once Johan forced his way down to the inside into turn 1, he just took off, and then it was all about trying to maintain a podium run for Toby.
Here come the minis going for a 1-2 sweep in TCA. And the STEP, that's the Service Technician Education Program machines from JCW Racing. John Cooper Works onto the front straight, and Mini and JCW are going to get a 1-2 finish here at VIR with Pombo over his young teammate Mejia. Just another great day for them. 3rd should be Gonzalez, who faded a little bit right at the end. Then Esma, and then Boehm will complete it. And then Johann Schwartz, Hard Motorsport and BMW, gets the win for the 2019, the reigning champion, and comes right back and puts together a great run here at VIR. He didn't get a win at COTA. He got 1 podium, so this was important for Johan to get back on track.
Yeah, and as I said, I haven't had a chance to catch up with Johan during the break, but I would think that, you know, bringing out a new group together at the last minute at COTA, this kind of reprieve in terms of the calendar has maybe given those guys a chance to really focus on what they needed to tune up and come out of the bag stronger for this weekend, and certainly showcase their head today.
Well, that's a really good point. I mean, you think about at COTA this. When Rooster Hall decided that they had to at least pause, and this Hard Motorsport deal came together, Johan had the car, and literally his car drove it on an open trailer to COTA, and the Hard Motorsport guys, which are based in the Pacific Northwest, drove the rig, and they met at Circuit of the Americas and started the program. That's how quick this came together. So a 4th and a 5th at Circuit of the Americas, but a win here, that's going to get him right back on track. It's great to see it. Yeah, the guys from Hard Motorsports said this thing came together so late. You know, we showed up. It was a brand new program, and I think in a way, you know, you never want to have something happen like happened, but a 4-month break for that team may have actually paid some dividends.
Yes.
How about 3 for 3 for this guy?
Yeah, he's certainly
depressingly young. Oh, that's not where you were going with it.
No, he's making a statement early.
He sure is.
It's hard to really see who's going to be his main challenger. Certainly Smithson's today stepped up big time, but ultimately Tyler just a little bit too strong for him. So it's going to take some consistency. He's showing it. He's showing the pace, and the team knows how to win. So that's a very strong combination for this championship charge.
Yeah, just great stuff for them, obviously. And there you take a look at it. Again, Smithson would have run Herbert in the return of DSG category cars, balanced a little bit off the pace, but that may have just been obviously first time that they've run in anger here. Luke Rumberg in that Rumcastle car. That was a great run in the VW DSG car. Look at that, Olivia Askew, top 5.
That's awesome.
On debut, and absolutely put on some brilliant, great moves out there to be able to do it. So welcome for the ex-skiing World Junior Champion to the ranks of motorsports. And great to see it, daughter of David Askew, who we'll be seeing tomorrow. He'll have a busy day unfolding here with some races as well. But great job there. Then C.J. Moses blocking the Alpha Lima in the second of the DSG new German Audis. Victor Gonzalez, that cut tire late after a very solid run to 3rd. And he will start on overall pole tomorrow, so he gets the CrowdStrike Fast Lap Award, and then Papadopoulos, who had a gearbox issue but showed great pace as well. That's how things unfolded in the top 10 in TCR for Touring Car America, the TC America Series. Taking a look at them, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think young Olivia could be on the second row of the grid tomorrow, so start from the back today. She could do even greater things tomorrow, I think.
That's a good point. 59.6 for her, quicker than Herbert and Rumberg. So, yeah, that's a great story. Here's TC and Johann Schwartz once again. He just understands it oftentimes with the big picture and
Toby
jumps
got
out.
around Clay.
No, he did get around him on the last lap, it shows.
Wow.
Wonder where that unfolded. So Grahovic, now another second. But he'll take the points because you think about it, he's been ultra consistent. Schwartz didn't podium, gets a win. Clay got a win and now a third here. Hull was right there the entire race, and I'm hoping he went to school because Chandler's got lots of gifts. And he just, if you watch Clay for that entire race, he's going to figure stuff out. And Capizzi, once again, another very solid performance in the Capizzi Home Developments Auto Technic entry. And Bloom, Federal, Slonaker, Streimer, who had that problem early, rounding out ninth and completing the top 10, Ruben Iglesias. And Bruce Robeson, who we saw with that off early. And then for TC America, the third class, the TCA category. And did that change up at the end too? Mejia, excuse me, able to get around Pombo.
Wow, a couple of big surprises here
Absolutely.
as we're looking at the final classification.
Yeah, I called him across. I didn't realize that they'd switch places. And then Gonzalez, who had gotten close at one point, and then faded a little bit. Then Boehm, and then Joey Esma, top finisher, which means a problem for PJ Gronke, who would run very well, but looked like he had an issue and dropped off just a little bit. And good to see Chad Bacon right up there in the mix this time. Showed such good speed at Circuit of the Americas. Little issues prompted some problems for him here, but absolutely, Caleb Bacon, excuse me. And the reason I said Chad was that's his dad. And if you've been following racing in the old IMSA GTP days and the like over the years, it's a name you're going to be familiar with as well. So a lot of lineage continuing here, isn't it?
It really is. It's great to see some second-generation drivers like Pombo. I used to race against his dad, Pepe.
Yeah,
the Race Truck Challenge many years ago.
All right, well, we've got everybody staged up, a little bit different look to our post-race interviews due to the COVID protocols, but we're getting them, and that's Ryan Marine on the left.
Hey, thank you very much, Greg. And I'm here with our race winner, Tyler Maxson, the reigning TCA champion, making that step up to TCR this year, Tyler, and making it look easy. That's 3 straight wins to start the season. Could you have dreamed it up this good?
Not really. You know, we had a really good start to the season. This car has absolutely been incredible. The Copa Motorsports guys have had this thing on rails all season long, and we're looking to continue that as through the weekend. And, you know, we may not have the strongest car in the field. We feel like we're kind of down a little bit to some of the other cars, but we're making it work with our handling and just really focusing on what we can control.
You were telling me a moment ago, it's awfully hot in those cars, and it looks like you're kind of sweaty from your head all the way down to your socks. So what was it like behind the wheel throughout that 40-minute race?
Oh, yeah, it was hot. I was sticking my hand out the window every opportunity I got, just trying to get any sort of air in the car because we don't get a whole lot of air in the car. So, yeah, I was definitely dying through that race. It's a hot one.
Well, you got 2 more to look forward to this weekend, but got the weekend off to a great start. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was that. I mean, what a start to the season, as you said. And a very young guy. And started off, we saw some real flashes from him in TCA running the MX-5, and he looked and he went, this guy's got some speed here. And I think teaming up now with, when he got teamed up with Dean Copeland, and one thing we've seen from Dean is that he is committed to his customers, and he's really helping Tyler come along. Let's get back down to Ryan.
Tomas Mejia, the winner in the TCA class. Congratulations. We'll have you stick that face cover it up for us. Social distancing crucial in this day and age. Congratulations, though, on leading home a 1-2 finish for the team. Do you carry over some momentum from the start of the season at COTA?
Yeah, it's, definitely we had a really good finish at COTA, both races. And, coming out here, we were just looking at doing it again. And, of course, Mini did the best they could, and they put the car together as best they could. All the mechanics, the whole team, the step team, all the mechanics from locals, they just made the car perfect for me and Mark, and we were able to put that 1-2.
Take us through the pass that you made to take the lead.
It was less of a pass. It was more of a an error by Mark, and I just saw the opportunity. He left a little bit of room on the inside coming into Oak Tree, and I had to go for the option. But it was definitely a good race. Both of us were, I think, the most consistent on the track, and our whole goal was to secure a 1-2 victory for both of us.
Well, mission accomplished in race number 1. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, and what a great opportunity for him. And any team owner will say, when you got you guys go race, just don't take each other out. And when you see a guy who's, Tomas Amahia obviously said, opportunity, I'm going for it. And when you beat Mark Pombo, you've done something.
Yeah, that was a
pretty
big
cool.
day. Really good for the championship points as well for that young man. And the other big move, as we alluded to, was in TC with Grahovic getting around James Clay on that final lap. So another runner-up position. Toby's got a way to go. I had 15 second-place finishes one year. So
Exactly. Well, speaking of TC, let's get back down to Ryan Marine with the winner, Johann Schwartz.
That's right, Johan, congratulations on the victory. And no surprise to see you and Toby battling for the lead. You've done that plenty of times before.
We have.
Take us through that battle, that duel, how you set him up and got by.
Well, I mean, these cars are so even, and they don't really draft that well, which is kind of funny. So you get stuck behind, the torque request goes down, whatever it is, and they go even down the straightaway. A couple of times I tried to outbrake him. He kept it. He didn't block me. He had already moved over, but he left a little opening. One time it didn't work. I tried to keep him. He came up on the inside, and then I came and did the second pass, tried to do it again. I wanted to get a little early on the gas so I could get kind of a launch out. I think he may have been in a taller gear than I was, and I got ahead of him, and it was those PFC brakes, man. I got to give my hats off to those because, man, I used them all up there and broke as late as I could, and the brake release was awesome, so it was so much fun being out there.
This program came together kind of last minute ahead of COTA. Then everything went on pause, and the guys were wondering, did that play into your hands a little bit? It gave you some time to get together as a team and lay out your plans for the rest of the year.
Oh, it absolutely did. We had a good beginning of the year in the sense that we had pole, and then it kind of went downhill from there a little bit. There was a couple of things that didn't happen right in the team. The team really got together and compared notes and what needed to happen for this race and certain things that couldn't happen that did happen in COTA. And so everybody stepped up. Unfortunately, my car chief is not here that was out with me in COTA, Dan Burke. And so I want to dedicate this victory to Dan and his dad. Hopefully they're watching at home, and hopefully I put on a good show. And Dan, this is for you. You've done so much for me, and this is part of it. You were part of getting the car here and getting it ready, so thank you very much.
That's your race 1 winner, Johann Schwartz.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great story, and he is a character as well, and that makes it a lot of fun. And by the way, I was going to mention that Hard Motorsports, that is owned by Adam Harding, and that's where the name came from. And they have just been superb in making this happen. Take a look at the highlights. Tyler Maxson from pole to the lead. He would never relinquish that, but Gonzalez and Smithson had a good little scrap of that.
they really did. Smithson just had an excellent start here, and tucks it in a second, would not give it up the rest of the way.
You see how close that racing was, but eventually Maxson was able to ease off into the distance just a little bit. But behind them, it got incredibly fierce. Big exchange between Roy Block right there and that black Alfa Giulietta and a couple of the other cars. And then in the TCA category at the start, Mark Pombo from pole was able to hang on, but you could see everybody was hungry early. And side by side all the way through turn 1 and 2. And then right here, those minis able to start to ease away a little bit.
Yeah, just a great mix of manufacturers in this class, and then there's a bit of off here for Bettenhausen, who just dropped wheels down on the approach to turn 1, couldn't get it wound down, caused a caution, and we had a little bit of a reset.
Watch this move here. Big aggressive move by Tristan Herbert down underneath Block, got him off his rhythm, and here came the Rumcastle Racing entry and made the move up front. This moment here, big save by Victor Gonzalez. He'd set fast lap of the race car. We wonder if maybe he didn't tweak a tire in that exchange because he had a flat later. Then this big moment and off.
Yeah, Robson there just gets that a little bit wrong. We call this section the snake, where it just wiggles around there, and he just got a little bit offline, tried to chase the throttle through there, and ultimately lost control, but continued.
Then Olivia Askew on debut here just got inside, set up CJ Moses a little bit, and he floated wide. She was able to knife through. He came back and started to make a run, but not quite enough. And here came Tyler Maxson at the end to get his 3rd straight win in the 3rd start of the season. There was the switch as Mejia got around Pombo, brought home the win. And for Johann Schwartz, once he got to the front, able to control things a little bit in the hard motorsports BMW. So round number 3 of the TC America season in the books here, Virginia International Raceway. An absolutely beautiful day, with the exception maybe of some heat and humidity. But it is absolutely great to be back at a track and watching phenomenal racing that just unfolded here at TC America for SRO Motorsports America.